Welcome to Business Banking with HSBC. All our experience and expertise brought right to you so that you and your business can take the next step. You'll have support from a dedicated relationship manager and access to our global network of experts. The flexibility to manage your finances across multiple devices. International accounts all on one platform. And much more. So choose Business Banking with HSBC and take your next step.
Hello and welcome to the 7th Annual Indonesia Economic Forum. We are honored to have speakers and participants from across the world, including the United States, Australia, India, Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, and of course here in Indonesia. For the first time, the Indonesia Economic Forum is a truly global event, broadcasting out of Jakarta, but reaching most major regions in the world. I can safely say that the Indonesia Economic Forum is the largest online virtual conference on Indonesia. Before we get started, I would like to thank all our partners, HSBC Indonesia, Sembcorp Development, Jababeka Group, the Victoria State Government, Intel Corporation, and Asia Pacific Fibers. Without your support, this forum would not have been possible. I would also like to thank all our content partners, Kadin, the Singapore Business Federation, and Global Connect, Castle Asia, the Singapore Chambers of Commerce Indonesia, AmCham Indonesia, the Indonesia Australian Business Council, Indiana University ASEAN Gateway, the Indiana University Indonesia Alumni, Orbit Future Academy, Kairos, Cognito, Coltus, and Synopsis Indonesia. Change, it is said, is the only constant in life. The global COVID-19 pandemic has affected our lives in unimaginable ways. As a society, we have learned to adapt to new levels of hygiene and social distancing. We have put up with lockdowns and travel restrictions. We have become accustomed to working and studying from home. Corporations and governments too have learned to adapt. The race to digitalize has gained unprecedented pace. New technologies and innovations have emerged to keep industries open and functioning. New drugs and healthcare products have hit the market. Indeed, whole new industries have been born as a result of the pandemic. But even as we wait for vaccines to be approved, one fact remains certain. There is no going back to the pre-COVID-19 world. We can and we must forge ahead to a brave new world in what I call the next normal. As the pandemic rages on, business leaders, policy makers, and thought leaders are recalibrating business strategies and economic policies so as to prepare for the post-COVID-19 era. Industries such as F&B, retail, real estate, finance, transportation will have to formulate new work models given widespread work-from-home policies and practices. Other industries such as manufacturing, logistics, healthcare, education, property, and agriculture will have to create more health-conscious and conducive work environments so businesses and schools can reopen safely. When the future arrives, we often do not recognize it. The future has in fact arrived with the onset of COVID-19. Changes that would have occurred over the decades have been compressed into a few short months. With consumer behavior having been altered by months of large-scale social distancing, the property market has been adversely impacted. But the explosion of shopping online, ordering out food, working from home, And less travel will force retailers, hoteliers, commercial building owners, hospitality players to find new business models. Companies will have to continuously assess and reassess risk and challenges on an ongoing basis as the situation changes. In such an environment, strong, visionary, and stable leadership will prove to be critical to the survival and the future growth of businesses and the overall economy. But what are these challenges facing Indonesian corporations, in fact, corporations across the world? Which sectors offer the best hope for boosting overall growth? How can the government attract greater foreign direct investments, particularly in the manufacturing and industrial sectors? In recent months, the government of Indonesia has placed a higher focus and priority in attracting manufacturing investments by offering a host of incentives and by promoting new industrial parks and special economic zones in Central Java and elsewhere. Given its large labor pool, ample land, and much improved infrastructure, Indonesia is an attractive destination for investors looking to tap its vast domestic market, but challenges remain, especially excessive red tape and an uncertain legal environment. But Indonesia too is moving fast forward in adopting new technologies that will ensure more sustainable growth, a cleaner environment, greater income equality. Indonesians have become more health conscious. The country as a whole is moving towards greater food security and sustainable farming. Clean energy is gaining greater public awareness. The 7th Annual Indonesia Economic Forum will explore the changing economic landscape in Indonesia as the country emerges in a post-COVID-19 environment. And we hope we can identify the key sectors that are poised for growth. Technology is likely to play a major role in helping companies reboot and to start to grow again. The COVID-19 pandemic and the ensuing economic crisis have forced the world to challenge existing norms. We now question the notion of pursuing GDP growth at the expense of the environment and our own health. Companies are also reviewing their laser focus on bottom lines and shareholder returns. For 9 months of 2020, the world held its collective breath. Now, as we once again began to contemplate the future, we can create a whole new vision. In the Pandemic is a Portal, a book written by Indian author Arundhati Roy. She writes, and I quote, "Historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and to imagine the world anew. This one is no different. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. The question before us, of course, is are we ready for what comes next?" So let's get started. I would now like to invite Francois de Maricourt, President Director of HSBC Indonesia, to deliver his opening address. Francois.
So, selamat pagi Bapak-bapak dan Ibu-ibu yang saya hormati. Senang sekali kami dapat menyapa Anda di acara Indonesia Economic Forum, Annual Conference yang ke-7. Dan ini adalah tahun ketiga HSBC Indonesia menjadi mitra IEF. Allow me to continue in English. Bapak, Ibu, I believe we can all agree that in every crisis, new opportunities emerge. The ongoing disruption due to the pandemic to global supply chain is fundamentally reshaping how economies and companies think about shifting products from manufacturer to consumers. However, this disruption offers a silver lining in terms of investment prospect for a large number of countries, including Indonesia. Companies looking to diversify beyond mainland China will need to set up a new base for their operations. And Indonesia is an attractive choice despite the challenges that you have mentioned. In addition, we have witnessed greater adoption of digital technology. This could potentially help Indonesia attract greater foreign direct investment, as well as move up the manufacturing value chain. In recent months, the government of Indonesia has been making commendable progress on placing a higher focus and priority in attracting manufacturing investments. What remains to be seen is the impact of the US election outcome and what actions the new Biden's administration will take. It will, of course, have an impact on the world economy, which in turn will impact us in Indonesia. And in the backdrop of it all, we have recently signed a Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP. I salute the government of Indonesia for initiating this and persevering for so many years to come to this point. And we expect some more free trade agreements to be signed in the future, starting with the EU potentially next year. But back to RCEP, it does establish a common rule of origin framework, which will enable exporters in RCEP economies to use input sourced from other members in order to qualify for preferential access when trading within the bloc. Already, the majority of RCEP economies send more than half of their exports to other members. And this proportion is likely to rise given the region's growing share of global GDP over time and the effect of deeper liberalization. RCEP now represent around 30% of the world GDP. At HSBC, we expect this proportion to grow to 50% by 2030. So that will be really the biggest free trade bloc in the world. So what opportunities do these facts present to us in Indonesia? So I suppose we'll find it out in the next 3 days in the forum. We in HSBC, with our unrivaled global network, will continue to play our role in promoting and attracting foreign direct investment to Indonesia, as well as explore ways we can help you to expand your business. We hope that you will have a fruitful discussion. Please take as much advantage as possible from this session. Terima kasih. Selamat pagi.
Thank you, Pak Francois, for your opening address and for, I think, laying out the groundwork and the ground for the discussions that will take place over the next 3 days. Agree that, we are moving into a new era. RCEP is going to be a major game changer for Indonesia and the region. So thank you very much for your thoughts and insights. I would now like to invite Dr. Iskandar Simorangkir. He's the Deputy of Coordination of Macroeconomic and Finance at the Coordinating Ministry of Economic Affairs. Pak Iskandar will deliver his keynote address. Pak Iskandar.
Thank you, Moderator, for such nice introduction to me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to congratulate the Indonesia Economic Forum for organizing the excellent webinar, where policymakers, businessmen, academia, and youths are gathering to share knowledge and ideas and learn the opportunity for business to run in the future. I'm honored to be here as a speaker to discuss the recent economic development of Indonesia and policies, recent issues by government of Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start my speech to discuss briefly the recent development of COVID-19 and the global economy. We live in challenging phase of history. We witnesses the world undergoing an unprecedented situation. The COVID-19 pandemic is the most critical global health catastrophe of this century and the most significant challenge for humanity. The pandemic has disrupted our social and economic at lightning speeds, and it has also changed how we live. Currently, more than 49 million cases. Excuse me, can you show me, since you don't give me the share my presentation. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. Currently, more than 49 million cases of COVID-19 have infected worldwide. It has killed more than 1.4 million people globally. Indonesian numbers suffer COVID are increasing to namely 502,000. However, we are grateful that our recovery rate has improved significantly to 84%, higher than global rate of 69.5%. But even though the mortality rate due to the COVID is still higher than global. As we can see, all countries worldwide are taking extraordinary measures to deal with spread of COVID-19 and to restore the economy. Many countries have gradually reopened their economies, including Indonesia, which was provided a market boost. Next slide, please. Some restrictions have been lifted as a result. There are already signs of economic recovery. Although we must aware of the risk of second wave occurring in some countries. The global economy gradually recovered in the third quarter of 2020. Although economic growth was still in negative level, there were improvements. We view the development of effective vaccine against COVID-19 as the most critical catalyst for healing the global economy and financial markets. Global demand has been recovering in line increasing industrial activities. Next slide, please. Almost all commodity prices recover in the third quarter following a steep decline due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Crude oil price have increases more than double since April, supported by sharp oil supply cut. Metal prices recover quickly, and some food prices also went up. Ladies and gentlemen, let's proceed to recent domestic economic developments. Next slide. Currently, the Indonesia economy is in the process of the recovery, as reported Indonesian economic growth in the third quarter 2020 minus 3.49%, but improved from the previous quarter minus 5.32%. Our economic growth has an increasing trend, and it has through the rock bottom phase of the economic downturn. During the crisis era, it was noticeable that government spending played an important role in reducing the economic slowdown cycle in Indonesia. The acceleration of state budget expenditure, which increases significantly in quarter 3 2020, as you can see in here, the government spending has positive growth 9.8%. This led to improvement our economic growth. Domestic consumption with the share 56% also saw upward trend. Growth in the household consumption sectors such as food and beverage, clothing, health, restaurant and hotel and transportation is starting to show recovery. We put countless effort into maintaining the people purchasing power during the pandemic era. Next slide. From sectoral perspective, some sectors have survived and grown positively amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. This sector include agriculture, information and communication, and health, beside the manufacturing industry, which is the most prominent foundation of our economic, saw improvements. The external balance saw excellent performance. The surplus in the trade balance in the last quarter has also led to decreases in Indonesian current account deficit. After one decade, our current account turned to be surplus. The last time we had surplus is in the third and the quarter in 2011. In addition, Jakarta Composite Index and Indonesian Rupiah have rebounded after the sharp decline in March 2020. This performance indicates the financial sector investor confidence has begun to recover. However, at the same time, crises have made people well-being stagnant or decline. Social restrictions due to the COVID-19 pandemic have impact in our workforce sector. The unemployment rate has increased due to the stopping of the business sector due to social distancing. It led causing layoff. There are 29.12 million people of the working age population affected by COVID-19. The majority of low-income people also experience a decreases in income, thereby increasing poverty. Ladies and gentlemen, let me continue to discuss National Economic Recovery Program in pandemic era. We fully realize that the world we live in today is not the same as it was years ago. In this borderless world, Indonesia is not immune to the global economic crisis. Indonesia, as Indonesia is the first line of defense, provide policy and reform which favor the domestic economic environment. The government had until now remained consistent in handling the impact of COVID-19 through various measures. Our achievement result from government strategy in balancing the handling of COVID-19 and opening the economy through the balancing between health and economic recovery. The first area of focus is health by controlling the spread of COVID-19, increasing the recovery rate, and reducing the mortality rate. We will continue to carry out the T program. We call it T program: test, tracing, and treatment. And also 3M. In Indonesia, we call it mencuci tangan, washing hand, memakai masker, wearing mask, and menjaga jarak, social distancing. Also, the procurement of vaccine will be priority of the end of the 2020 and continue to 2021. We hope this vaccine and overcome the pandemic we hope that this vaccine can overcome the pandemic and help public trust for national economic recovery. The government has allocated a budget for handling COVID-19 and national economic recovery amounting 695.2 trillion in rupiah in 2020 and 372.3 trillion rupiah in 2021. In the short term, the government policy strategy is to mitigate the impact of COVID-19, particularly on employment, social protection, restoring confidence in spending, increasing demand to promote economic recovery. For the business sector, the government provides various forms of support, such as fiscal incentive. The provision of fiscal incentive aim to maintain cash flow to continue to operate during the pandemic and to prevent the layoff. Ladies and gentlemen, let me proceed to the policy response in the short run and structural reform in the short run and medium run. As responses to the current economic situation, the government are continuing structural reform. Next slide, please. Next. Continuing to structural reform the coming years. Sorry, the previous slide. Can you show the previous slide? The government continuing structural reform in the coming years. The government budget established in the 2020 to support the acceleration of the economic recovery and strengthening reform. The strategic policy, including education, health, social protection, infrastructure, food security, tourism, and ICT. As we know, the role of skilled human resources and infrastructure are very important to quick from the middle income trap in Indonesia. In the medium long term, in facing the challenging ahead, the Indonesian government passed the job creation law. Next slide. One more. Next slide. It's good. This law bridges the impact mitigation program of COVID-19 and medium long-term economic transformation during the reform phase. The government takes measures to overhaul regulation unfavorable to business and economic climate. The job creation law has drafted with the spirit of increasing competitiveness, encourage employment, and the improved Indonesian and as investment and business climate. This law also acts as post-pandemic rescue net to restore corporation, MSME, micro, small, medium enterprise, cooperative. The timing of job creation law is very timely because the creation of jobs will help reduce the negative impact of pandemic on the 29.1 million working age population in Indonesia. The law will simplify, synchronize, and harmonize overlapping regulation, facilitate foreign investment. Could you go to the next slide? Foreign investor business activity in Indonesia. This law, at the same time, prevent illegal levy of other corruption in Indonesia. The Indonesian government is currently finalizing implementing a regulation and providing the most expensive possible space for all society components to give input and suggestion. Next slide, please. Can you? One more. One more. Okay. This transparency is an effort to provide legal certainty for all levels of society, including investors. The implementing regulation consists of 40 government regulation and 4 prudential regulation. We already uploaded the implementation regulation of job creation law, amounting 30 implementing regulations. So you can go to our website, www.uuu.ciptakerja.go.id. You can see already finished drafted 30 government regulation, and
Hello, sorry, I think we've lost Pak Iskandar for a little bit, but we're trying to get him back. Just a comment for all the participants who have joined us. If you do want to ask questions of the panelists and of the speakers, please give your please write down or send your questions through the chat box. We will review them and help to question them for the speakers. Unfortunately, we've lost Pak Iskandar. I think the connection has been cut on his side, but we'll try and get him back later on if he manages to rejoin us. As such, I think we'd like to move on to the panel discussion. We have with us Pak Darmono, SD Darmono, Chairman of the Jababeka Group, Mr. Kelvin, who's the CEO of Sembcorp Development, and Pak Roslan Roslani, Chairman of Kadin, who will be joining us shortly. But to continue the program, let us start with Pak Darmono. Pak Darmono, welcome to the Indonesia Economic Forum.
Hello. Good morning to you all.
Good morning, Pak Darmono. Pak Kelvin, also welcome to the Indonesia Economic Forum. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me this morning. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Pak. And Pak Roslan will be joining us shortly. So let's start. As Pak Iskandar has mentioned, the Indonesian economy is starting to slowly pick up from the COVID-19 pandemic. I think we have to credit the government and President Jokowi in terms of maintaining macroeconomic stability, I think coming up with new incentives and policies to help businesses. And I think the landmark omnibus law will surely drive growth, investments and business in the next coming years. Consumer confidence is picking up, new investments are flowing again, and I think lastly, China's economy is also picking up. Then of course there's a very good news of vaccine for COVID-19, which we hope that we will have in Indonesia shortly. But the reality of course is that COVID-19 has definitely impacted all of us, especially companies and industries. Only a handful of countries globally will record positive GDP growth this year. Indonesia's economy is likely to contract by 1.5% in 2020, but this is much, much better than many other developing and in fact developing countries. As we put 2020 behind us, what can we expect in terms of economic growth in 2021? What will be the next normal? Will the economic dynamics change significantly? To answer these panels, we have a highly distinguished panel of business leaders who have seen many crises come and go. I think their experience in handling crises and understanding the forces of work is probably unmatched. So to get us started, may I please invite Pak Darmono to get us rolling. Pak Darmono, you have been in business for a very long time. I think you have founded many industries. You are in fact considered to be a pioneer of the development of industrial parks in Indonesia. What are you hearing on the ground in terms of pickup in industrial activity, in terms of investor confidence, both domestic investors as well as foreign investors in coming into Indonesia? And of course, because of the large number of unemployed, we need to create jobs very quickly. What are your views on that? And I think you have a short presentation too. So, Pak Darmono, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Shoeb. And again, good morning to everyone. And to my friend, my partner from Singapore, Mr. Kelvin, and of course, HSBC boss, Mr. Francois, and greeting to you all. So I think there are always the people who are optimistic, and there are people who are pessimistic, and also people who are standing still. And that is again the same situation in the situation with the industry or customers I've been talking with. In the industry of automotive, of course, this is now badly impacted, and that is in the area of our industrial estate. We have a lot of companies who are involved or supply chains of the automotive industries, either motorcycle or car industry. So this sector is of course badly impacted. But then there are industries like the pharmaceutical and food industry who actually enjoy very much higher demand than normal. And then there is the people who are enjoying because of the new trend, like the bicycle. Some of our customers now multiplied their production by 300%. So these are always the people who suffer and people who actually make more money, and also who are just standing still. But having said that, what I've seen also is the economy actually has been driven by the middle-low class for consumption. The middle-high class, they are still staying put and very careful on spending money, which is, I think, is not very good. So this kind of talk, this kind of webinar actually is very useful for us to encourage each other, not just to do nothing, keep planning, networking. I think we need also to do some concrete collaboration, which we can do. There are people who have got too much products or too much stock in their factories, but also at home, if we look around, possibly 80% of the goods at home, either this is clothes, shoes, golf equipment, or maybe 80% actually can be thrown out. And these actually are useful for other people who were never able to afford this kind of things. So again, innovation, creativity, collaboration, I think is the one which I've seen many people are also doing it to encourage each other, to do barter, and instead of using cash. So if we can do it more also in the global level, then I think it's better. The other day I was listening to the speaker from the top speaker organized by Pak Dino Patija. So all the time these people with the in the policy of the government, they were talking about multilateral collaboration. So that's again the way to go ahead, because we don't know yet actually when is the vaccine going to be effective, whether governments have got money to buy vaccine, whether the vaccines are good enough. This is still a question mark. So we need to actually improve more of the collaboration between countries and also between companies. We can do more by bartering, by exchanging information, and so on. So thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to talk. And I've got more slides if you want me to give the presentation now.
Iskandar has managed to rejoin us. Can I please invite Pak Iskandar to come back?
Okay, thank you. Sorry for interrupted.
No
because
problem,
our electricity is off, and then our Wi-Fi also off. This is the reason why suddenly disconnected our Wi-Fi. Hello?
No problem, Pak. Please continue.
Do you hear my voice? Do you listen my voice?
Yes, we can hear you, Pak.
Hello?
Yes, Pak.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll put it up in 1 second. There you go, Pak. You're back on.
Let me
Can you hear us, Pak?
with
I think
the structural reform through the
okay, I think I'm afraid the electricity at the ministry is having some difficulty. We'll just continue. Darmono, thank you so much for your opening comments on the panel. I think what you mentioned is very critical as to how businesses must cooperate and not just wait for things to improve, but make the improvement, come up with new ideas. I think your idea of bartering is very important, because that will help a lot of, especially small and medium-sized enterprises, to continue business activity, which I think is critical in this stage of COVID-19 as we wait for the vaccine to come. But Darmono, you have some slides. You would like to present your slides now? But you have to unmute.
Sorry, yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, can you put on the slides?
Yes.
Yeah. Next question. Okay. So I think many people have been talking about this one. The world is being reset. It's like our computer is being reset because it was hanged. So this is a situation which is very interesting, because new players will emerge like many other things when there was Industrial Revolution 1, 2, 3, 4. And plus also the experience in Indonesia in 1965, 1998, where the old players, a lot of them gone, the new players are coming. So who are the new players? I think that will be more from the people who are at around 40 years old with already still a lot of energy and maybe also creativity. And of course, the millennia is also very useful to support. Now, if I look around, the lifestyle is already changing now. People are like our golf course is full. Our driving range is also very good. Young people, although they don't play golf, they show off in the driving range with the new clothes, take selfies and send to everywhere. So this is new thing. A lot of Brompton bicycles now on the street. 50 million or $50,000 to $200,000 they spend on this kind of bicycle. So consumer behavior will change, or has been changing. Production will shift. Logistic, completely different. Now, a lot of shop houses in our estate, for example, are used for logistics because the people do not go to the shops. But then online ordering, this requires an area where they can deliver very quickly. Otherwise, the logistic fee, the transportation will be higher than the price of the good itself. So I've seen also interesting thing where the shop houses now are being used for warehouses. And also people like to work from home. That also makes something interesting to see, that people are now doing their business in their home. So our standard factories building, for example, now can be used also for home, for office, and also for workshop. So that is a change, interesting change for people who can adapt quickly. And this mostly for the people of the younger generation. And type of houses is changing. Now in Jababeka, for example, we actually before concentrated on building high-rise towers. But today, demand is for low-cost, for landed housing, 2 stories, convenient for working at home. So this is something which is new. One developer, they could sell within 1 day 550 units, and not cheap one, $200,000 to $500,000 houses. This is an interesting thing also for the architects. The architects see the changes also in the interior. They want to, people want to have everything at home, which is very convenient. So the interior designer has got more work to do. Land use is also changing. Again, this is an interesting phenomenon. Transportation style also is will change, and actually also is changing, and many more. So there are so many changes. there are many contraction now are going on. So again, like Shoeb, what you said, that adaptation and adjustment to this new situation is the key to a successful future. Now let me show you the next slides. So this is Indonesia. It's a 17,000 island country. Everybody now understand the potential of this. 70% of the people live in Java Island, which so what kind of opportunity we have now? Next slide, please. So this is Jababeka at Cikarang. This is actually a fully integrated township starting from industrial estate. And this one is a modern city. We still have a lot of land here for the development of Tuning together with the already existing infrastructure. Next one. Next slide. This one is the joint venture with Sembcorp and Jababeka in Kendal. This is still a lot of land we have there. I think already developed about 100 hectares for maybe 65 factories. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kelvin. So this gives again an opportunity for different type of factories, different type of demands which is coming soon. So this is an opportunity for people who want to move from the crowd in West Java to the cheaper cost, more what they call lifestyle from the villages who can be combined with the modern industrial estate like this one. So this is another one. And then the next one, please. Next slide. Now, this one is a resort, Tanjung Lesung. Now, surprisingly, in this COVID situation, our hotels here has done very well. A lot of people from Jakarta now move to Tanjung Lesung and live there because we have the Wi-Fi, so we can work from home. So this is where we can live around the sea, golf course, jungle. So it's an interesting phenomena. Our occupancy rate has gone up much better than normal. And the price also, they don't mind to pay high price. So the middle upcoming to this kind of thing. Now, next one, please. This is, and again, Morotai Island. This is 4 times larger than Singapore. It is in the northeast of Indonesia, near the very rich island Halmahera, where the nickel is one of the richest in the world. And also nearby Papua, nearby Kalimantan. This is, again, an opportunity for people to go, to move forward. So what I'm talking about now is offering opportunities to people, to countries, to investors who want to collaborate. And of course, we don't have to use cash. We can use barter again in this kind of thing. We have plenty of land. A lot of people need jobs. And they are good people because they possibly lost their job during this pandemic. So the attitude for me is instead of laying off people, we should be hiring good people. It's the time now. Instead of not investing, we should invest. So when the blood is on the street, it's the time when we actually invest. When people are selling, we should be buying. Of course, we don't go to that extreme. We must find the balance. But this is the opportunity when we have to encourage the younger generation to do something. And the banks, I think the bank has got too much money, Mr. Francois, is that correct? A lot of banks now have got too much money and the interest rate has gone down. So again, it's opportunity for everybody to do something. If I remember in 1920s, after also the pandemic, 1918, the pandemic, 1920 in Europe was booming. So perhaps we will enjoy also the situation if we encourage each other, if we improve the optimism between the players in the market. Thank you very much.
I think you put it very succinctly and I think given us a lot of hope in terms of how things will change. And as you rightly say, the speed of adaptability is very critical in this era. Kelvin, if I may come to you now, it's a pleasure to have you on the panel. And Sembcorp has developments and investments across the region. I think it has been involved in urbanization, in industrialization, in a number of regional countries, including Vietnam, China, Indonesia. You also understand Indonesia. You have been here for a long time. So, Kelvin, how do you see new trade and investment flows emerging post-COVID as you survey the region?
Thanks for the questions. Maybe I will share before even the COVID-19.
Sure.
What's the trend that we see? As like you rightly pointed out, we are in the business of running industrial park, and part of our job is to, in a way, to try to find out, to understand the trend. The very obvious trend is even before the trade war between US and China, the trend about the multinational company choosing a location to supply the global market to localization or regionalization. I think that MNC running business, they are very commercially driven. These are the people who see opportunity. So in the past, they find location, cheapest, go inside, export to the whole world. But no so more now. The most important the criteria will be they want to serve the local market. In that perspective, Indonesia really have a tremendous opportunity. Imagine you're serving 200 over million population and young population, like what Darmono say, rising middle income, affluent economy. So as a company, this is our observation. We see MNC location that they want to be closer to their domestic market. And you look at the trend, the last few years, most of the MNC also have adopted a China plus one strategy. They also wanted to, other than China, they want to put a manufacturing location outside China. So Sembcorp, our view is we look at Southeast Asia is a very good potential. I'm not saying replacing China as a manufacturing hub, but it's an alternate strong hub for manufacturing. And you be seeing that for the last few years, the company are adopting China plus one. They choose Indonesia, they choose Vietnam, they choose Thailand, they choose Myanmar as a next location for their manufacturing activities. So this trend is quite obvious, and the trade war between US and China and the COVID-19 accelerate this trend. And just the last few months, we see a lot of people getting sitting inquiry to invest in Indonesia. Just to report just now, but Bapak Darmono mentioned about Kagda Industrial Park. Yes, we officially launched this industrial park in 2016, about 4 years ago. I'm happy to report that now we got 60 over customers. More importantly is this 60 over company invested close to $1.3 billion investment into Kagda, Central Java, and creating employment close to 9,000 employment. So that's a very good record for us. Of course, we will do more. Looking forward, we look at the inquiries come from different various industry, in particular food processing. Textile is an industry that we find that is very, very good resident. And like what you said, I myself have been quite involved in Indonesia for the last 27, close to 30 years. And we see the trend of we witnesses a lot of so-called challenges along this over 30 years. Indonesian is very resilient. They will be up and down. Multinational company from overseas, they are not afraid of up and down. They understand the challenges faced in operation. They always have issue. Indonesia is not the only exception. Any country, even in Singapore, there's always an operation issue. But multinational companies look at long term. They look at long-term commitment. They look at the domestic market. And Indonesia, being such a big domestic market, is very attractive to foreigner. And like what you pointed out, and also in the early of this webinar, that the government, we've seen the government have been doing a lot of active promotion of the country. BKPM stepped out their effort for all the program initiative that they collectively they make Indonesia become very competitive. And not to forget that the recent signed RCEP that give a tremendous potential. Can you imagine the Indonesia it can be a hub of the whole thing, whereby it can serve the whole region. And I look at the Indonesia as a very promising outlook, and I believe that more jobs will be able to create it if with all the policy being putting together, with working together with all the stakeholders, government, industry, Institute of Higher Learning, and all the workers together, and Indonesia will be attractive location. And Sembcorp long-term play in Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelvin. I think for your insights. I think it's very encouraging to hear that investments, are flowing into the region. Indonesia is well poised and well positioned to, I think, capture a large percentage of those investments coming into Indonesia. If I may just follow up a little bit, in terms of the new Regional Economic Cooperation Partnership Agreement, multilateralism kind of is back in favor, right? Because I think over the last few years there was growing protectionism and less multilateral type arrangements and cooperation. There's a question from Ms. Tun Lee Ng from Singapore, who's actually asking about geopolitical risk. Do you see geopolitical risk diminishing or being mitigated going forward as more countries start to cooperate economically and through trade flows?
For geopolitical risk, I don't see. I see that now because of COVID-19, all countries are focusing on recovery. All countries are looking to the focus on health, livelihood, long-term, lifetime employment. If you ask me, the good thing about positive side of this crisis or this pandemic is that focus all the countries into solving the issue on the ground issue. I see positively say that this is good development, and the trackpad and ASEAN become more and more promising, more and more important. Traditionally, most of the people will put a factory in this region and try to export to whether the Europe, US, or Japan. The trend has been still there, but the trend is now quite obvious that the Southeast Asia, 630 million population, is a big market for that. And Indonesia being the largest country, the talented people, the productive workers, and I don't see any reason why Indonesia can't capture the value that all the country is trying to pursue. So if you ask me, I find that this COVID-19 actually one positive development is let all the country have a policy, and I believe that will force the country to integrate. I see more integration among ASEAN countries because I think that will be good for everybody. The job is not to compete with each other, but to make the cake bigger so that everybody have a share of the cakes.
Thank you very much. So I think there's more complementary relationships here, even though there's some competition, but the new trade patterns will emerge. But Darmono, if I might come to you now, there is a question regarding the omnibus law, which was just recently passed, and how ministries and the government will use the omnibus law to better integrate themselves, because one of the key factors for investors actually coming into Indonesia is red tape, bureaucracy. Do you think the government, with the passage of the omnibus law, is progressing on this front, and do you see the business environment improving and less red tape going forward?
Yeah, I think so, because in 1998, when we had the monetary crisis then, the help for Indonesia was the IMF loan, which was $40 billion. And today, I think the only hope for Indonesia to get more foreign direct investment or even domestic investment is by having this omnibus law. So every minister is working hard now, trying to explain to everybody that this is the benefit of having this omnibus law. The president surely is very serious. Of course, the implementation will take time because people, the government officers from the central government, provincial, and down to the region, they will have to also understand and learn about this one. But the spirit is there. And I think the business people are very welcoming with this new law or the omnibus law, and also the unions for the labor's union, the leaders of them, I think more than 80% are very, very supportive. So I don't see any actually problem to implement it fast. But again, it takes time for people to understand. Even I think still a lot of discussion between association, what is needed to be improved and so on and so on. So I see it's a very positive action. And also during this pandemic time, we are still waiting for the easiness to travel and so on. We have time to actually work on a better and better understanding of this omnibus law.
Thank you, Pa. So I think, would you agree that during difficult times, actually you get good policies or better policies?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So this one is really the light in the tunnel. But also on top of that, I like to also refer to what Mr. Kelvin just said, that the cooperation between region actually is more important than the multilateralism for the whole world. Because when our house is on fire, the nearest people who can help us are our neighbors. So the cooperation between ASEAN countries actually will be possibly more crucial than omnibus law itself.
Right, thank you very much. Kelvin, if I may come to you now, in terms of investors coming into Indonesia, do you see a changing demographic amongst the investors? Which are the companies or which are the countries that are investing heavily in Indonesia now, from your experience?
Okay, for the past 20 over years, when we first developed our first project in Batam Industrial Park, obviously those days the focus is on America, Europe company. And they're a company that they do manufacture themselves. Imagine Thomson, Philips, you name it, they are manufactured themselves. So when they started to outsource, you see that the American, the European, they have lesser focus in the region. For the last few years, obvious trend is the top investor in the region is Japan, Korea, Taiwan, and lately mainland China. Of course, Hong Kong is part of China. So you can see that the Japanese, Korean, Taiwanese is the three biggest investor investing in the region, and they choose to they like to go to the investor in the place that can serve the domestic market. I think it's quite obvious already. So that instead of in the cheapest location, cheapest might not be the best solution for them. It's a domestic market that serves so that the product and services can reach the customer faster. So Indonesia have very good opportunity. And you look at the WEF competitiveness index. In the ASEAN country, Indonesia ranked number 4, just after Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand. It's very impressive achievement for Indonesia to rank number 4. This is one of the index that most of the index MNC are looking at. And you also look at the ease of doing business. The last few years, Indonesia have been improving. The government is put a lot of effort to make easier to set up a company, to make the manufacturer understanding the operation. The type of approval process is more transparent and better. So we got reason to believe that with this improving the index, improving in the easing business, and that put Indonesia a very good location for MNC to consider when they want to put the next plan.
Right. So we are really now seeing a new breed of investors from Asia, maybe North Asia, coming down into Southeast Asia. They see Indonesia and ASEAN as a market, rather than just in the past it was basically manufacture in the lowest cost place and export to the world, right? So now they're looking at markets. For Darmono and Kelvin, in terms of the type of industries that they're investing in Indonesia, would you have any insights into, is manufacturing, but what kind of manufacturing? Is it textiles, is it automotive? I think Darmono mentioned a little bit about automotive. Do you see the type of investments changing?
Okay, maybe I will try to address that. Indonesia, they see Indonesia as one of the point. They are trying. Most of the MNC are looking for so-called I don't call new supply chain, a supply chain that is to support China's supply chain, and they want to build an ecosystem. So they look at Asia. ASEAN is a very good platform. Imagine you have a plant in Indonesia or Vietnam or Myanmar, and you could probably use Singapore as a hub for the financial service, for other services. Indonesia also is possible to be another regional hub for that. So you can see that the businessmen are trying to shape out all the new supply chain so that they can reach to the customer. So and because of the trade protectionism. So if you can, and with this signing of the RCEP, we provide a better opportunity. And if you ask me, the industry, the competitive advantage of Indonesia is important. The core competency focus on that. I still see the automotive healthcare product is something, and most of the investors now looking to provide sustainable solution, sustainable product. Anything to do about green energy, anything to do about ICT to provide sustainable solution is a trend and is a real focus. Of course, food processing also move for the industry 4.0. That's the part that most of the manufacturers are looking at. That your 3D printing, your advanced materials, just to name a few.
Right, so I think you made a good point there about sustainable and more environmentally friendly investments coming into Indonesia. Yeah, so we are moving away from the old kind of more polluting type industries. You see this trend moving forward more strongly going in the future, yeah?
Yeah, obviously this will be the trend because multinational company, they have the climate change statement, they have a sustainable target. So they are looking for not just the operator, they are looking to put a factory located in the place that they can use green energy. An operator or a developer can provide in the way solar, rooftop solar, wind, renewable energy. The source of fuel is very important, critical for them. And I will say that Sembcorp position ourselves very well because we are in this business. All our part will be based on the three key elements. It must be green, smart, and sustainable. So and from what my interaction, part of my job is to travel to meet all my prospect, my customer. Quite obvious, quite clear the message. Do you have a solution for my sustainable targets? My boss, some of them tell me that my bosses already committed 2030, 2050. I want to find a partner. So if you ask me, Indonesia will be able, if we can, all the stakeholders can focus on this area, there's a tremendous opportunity for the country and for a developer like us and also Jababeka. Because I understand Jababeka also focus on sustainable solution. Thank you.
Yeah, but Darmono, maybe if I can raise that point with you, I think your Tanjung Lesung resort, for example, is really an example, a showcase of green development potential in Indonesia. Yeah, is there a conscious effort by Jababeka to become more environmentally conscious? Your product, your developments are also adopting that kind of technology, new clean technology.
Yes, actually from the beginning, from 30 years ago when we established Jababeka, our concept was always about sustainability, although we possibly didn't name it that way. But for example, we say Cikarang Baru Kota Hijau. From only one tree, then we grown millions of trees in Cikarang. Tanjung Lesung, a resort where we actually followed the infrastructure of an industrial estate that we built in waste treatment plant. So hotels cannot just throw the water to the sea. We take the wastewater to our central treatment plant. This was very expensive operation for a 1,500 hectares resort and only starting with one hotel. Normally we just do the waste treatment plant in that hotel, but we do waste treatment plant for actually 200 hectares area. And then on top of that, we also are building our own electric power, which easily we can convert into a solar system because of the sun over there and the land we have plenty to do this kind of thing. So indeed, sustainability has always been in our policy, our strategy to make a difference to other development. But I also like to talk about this one as well, about which country are actually coming to Indonesia. Now, if we divide into several categories, they have all different motives. Japan, China, South Korea, and Taiwan are our main focus for foreign direct funds to come to us. Japan would always look at, is there any strong domestic market? Because Japan competitive edge actually is because they have cheaper capital to invest. You know, the deposit rate in Japan is minus. So for them, very interesting actually to come to Indonesia if the domestic business is profitable. That is from Japan. So Tanjung Lesung actually will be interesting for Japan. And then China. What happened in China because of the trade war with US? So the Chinese bosses are actually going out, finding a place where they can actually manufacture with a competition and also open to the Western market. So again, Indonesia is interesting for them. Plus the growth for domestic market will be the buffer. South Korean is again different. South Korean, because of the situation with North Korea, sandwich between China and Russia and so on. So South Korean are coming to Indonesia actually to settle down. A lot of Korean investors come to Indonesia with families and become Indonesian. That is a different type of what we call strategy. And then you have Taiwan. Taiwan now, the situation in Taiwan is also very difficult with its trade war. The threat that China may do something with Taiwan is real. So again, we see something different with Taiwan. But of all those, with Taiwan and China and Korea, during this pandemic time, people are concentrating on trade instead of investment. Start with trade first, because by trading, we build the market bigger. So if the market is bigger, then it's feasible to do investment manufacturing in Indonesia. So either this is Tanjung Lesung, or Iskandar, or it is Morotai, or Cikarang, many other places in Indonesia. We have to remember what are the needs of these four countries, which are our main target for Indonesian economic development.
Right. So I think, as you say, each country has a different reason for investing. But would you say that Indonesia actually is able to meet all their different needs and criteria? Yeah.
Yes, because our domestic market is large and growing. So this is always interesting for any businessman coming to Indonesia. Because if the demand is growing, then of course, business-wise, this is very interesting. You just have to find what product to make. So if you can find local material for building houses, you know, you are winning, right? Use Indonesian laborers, but use your cheap money to come to Indonesia. So Japan will always look at me. You have business in Indonesia, you can guarantee me that I've got not good return, reasonable return, right? So this is good enough for the Japanese. The Korean will be different, right? What can we do here which make your land price goes up? Can you open, for example, Gangnam Street, with Korean barbecue and so on, but with Indonesian raw materials? The Korean will look into that one. The Taiwanese, again, are different type, right? They come and go, right? So they can be mainland Chinese, they can be Taiwanese. They can become Indonesian very quickly too, within a short time. So they're different type to be collaborated with.
Right. Kelvin, if I may come to you now, on this issue of sustainability, today, recycling, especially of plastic, is a major industry. Do you see those kind of industries coming to Indonesia also?
Okay, I must say that we have not do an in-depth study of that part. But quite obviously, is the sustainable target is something that most of MSC are looking at. Like what Bapak Darmono said, last time we might not use a sexy word, sustainability. But when we design our industrial park, it's always have that in mind, that we want it to be to serve the customer, provide solution to our end customer. And that was one of the such example of the thing we do. And what, as a foreign developer, as a Singapore master developer, so what we offer in Indonesia is we are basically sharing our experience in the internationalization and urbanization. And we want to make our part be whereby work, live, play, and learn can be together. And that's what the investors are looking at. They are not just looking to invest in the industrial park per se. The park itself must have all the combination of the services, whereby they can put a house next to their factory, they can shop there, they can have a weekend, they can catch a movie, they can send their students for education, be it local school or international school. So the kind of work, live, play, learn, it must be together. That's important for the planning going ahead. So as a foreign investor, we look at it. Our role is here long-term commitment, work with the local government, understand the master plan to in a way transform raw land into urban spaces by creating value, enhancing value. More importantly, those who bought our land, those who bought our houses, they are happy person now, happy family now, because by our presence, by creating industrial park, they find a meaningful job, sustainable job. They find that they are more secure. The children can go to the school that near us. So that's what we're trying to achieve for that.
Right. Thank you. I think, Darmono, your concept of industrial estate, I think, is very unique because it's not just factories, right? You have a university there, and I think with Sembcorp, you're also building a polytechnic in Kagda, right? There is greater interaction between academia and industry, because I think that was one of the missing links within Indonesia's industrial policy as well as educational policy. One of the biggest complaints from employers is that graduates are not job ready and not work ready. They have to spend more time and more money training workers, their employees, to be productive. So do you think that companies like Jababeka in partnership with Sembcorp, they are actually playing that kind of a civic role in helping the government to create programs, especially within the educational sector, within the technical or the vocational sector, to actually help Indonesians, young Indonesians, to be more job ready, especially for, like you said, Industry 4.0, you need different skills, right? We want to move up the value chain in terms of, we always don't want to be the lowest cost labor market, right? I mean, you want our workers to also earn a better living. Do you see that as one of your roles?
Yeah, of course, I think we learned a lot from Singapore that, as a developer, it's like a government. We have to be responsible for our tenants, our workers. First is ease of doing business, certainty of law, and security. There will be our first concept to attract investors to come. But after they come, we need to make sure that they make money, they are competitive. And for that, we have to continuously improve the capability of our workers. So if we have in university, we have polytechnic, we have schools, this is to ensure that the labor costs will remain competitive. But of course, we also want the laborers become richer so that they can also become our partners or our customers for buying houses and so on. If the workers are buying houses around the industry, then the industries will also enjoy, because the workers can come very quickly, the transport also is easy, and they are happy. So this is a holistic approach, which I've seen how Singapore has developed so well in the last, 50 years or so, which should be the example of any development in the world. And to be honest, I took Singapore as our benchmark when we developed Cikarang. Of course, the difference, we could not have all what the Singapore government has. After all, we are private sector. But having the President University, which is seen by government, by any president in Indonesia, that this is to help the country. So that makes the link between Jababeka and government officers, the bureaucrats, very, 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 very good. Yeah. So the concept of special economic zone is very important, especially if we have got a complete infrastructure like what we have shown in Cikarang, Jababeka. a complete infrastructure. Even now we are going into cultural movement, because we have so many people from all over Indonesia, the world, and from all over the world. How can we create a harmonious society? The only way is through a cultural approach. Yeah, because by cultural approach, which again I've seen in Singapore, like community centers in Tanglin, everywhere. Right? That is the way where people from all different races, ethnics, religion can come together, because we are, after all, human beings. We want to be cultured and civilized. And that should be a concept of a development which guarantee safety, security, and happy to do business in our area.
Thank you very much, Pak Darmono. I think kind of just to come to a conclusion in terms of the panel discussion, may I ask each of you maybe to list 2 or 3 factors going forward. We were talking about the next normal, the post-COVID environment. We've mentioned some of these factors, but in terms of summarizing your thoughts on this issue, maybe Kelvin, you can go first in that sense. 2 or 3 factors that you think will be the main drivers of growth, not just industrial growth, but more macroeconomic growth going forward over 2021 and beyond.
Okay. I myself is an F1 Formula One fan. If you observe that how the driver overtake each other, it's never a straight road. It's always when the curving road, then the driver will try to overtake each other. So this is a very important point now that Indonesia is facing, not like other country. Now it's coming to turn. So all stakeholders have to work together to make sure that we focus on economic development. It's about good policy, constantly applying good policy, infrastructure, and also the capability building. As a developer, like what Darmono said, this is the best time to invest. This is the best time to get ourselves prepared. So what do we do now while waiting for investors to come in? We improve our infrastructure, and we send all our colleagues for educational training to prepare for the thing. So in summary, meaning that I think instead of losing, of course we need to do some cost containment, some managing of the cash flow, but this is the time that we should invest, because if you ask me, the outlook is very promising. I'm very optimistic of the outlook for Indonesia for attracting foreign investors into the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelvin. Pak Darmono, maybe just some closing thoughts from you in terms of, you've been in business for many years. Going forward, what do you see some of the 2 or 3 key trends or factors that business leaders should be thinking about when they think about this, investing or growing the business?
Well, I think what I've learned for so many years I've been in business is COVID-19 is a reminder to us that we human beings are vulnerable. Yeah, we cannot overcome the situation with technology, with money. Yeah, so this is a very clear reminder that we have to work together. We have to help each other. We should not be just driven by profit motive, because after all, if we talk about sustainability, how we can make the earth sustainable, how we can live on earth in a harmony situation. That should be the goal for every businessman, that is not just profit motivated, but also most important is for the stakeholders. We do something we do a lot of things to make our shareholders happy. But we also have to take care about our people, our workers, and our community. And most importantly is the earth. If we destroy the earth, the mother earth, then how can we live on this earth? So this COVID-19 is a very clear reminder that we have to focus on this kind of development and work together, help each other, be more compassionate, and take care of Mother Earth.
Well, I think that really summarizes and sums up our panel discussion today. As we look forward, I think we should also be very mindful of the reason we live and the reason we work and the reason we are here on this earth is sustainability. As Darmono says, to take care of Mother Nature. But I would really like to thank both of you for spending your time this morning with us, for sharing your thoughts and ideas and insights. If I may just summarize, I think while there are challenges, of course, in every endeavor there will be challenges. In every crisis there is opportunity. I think this is, as Kelvin says, this is the right time to invest for any investor who's out there thinking about what to do next. We have participants from many different countries watching us and joining us on this platform this morning. So I think that message will be resounding strongly amongst the business community. So thank you very much, Pak Darmono, for always supporting us. We see you as an inspirational leader, and I always look to you for new ideas and answers. So thank you again very much for sharing your time with us. Kelvin, it's a great honor to have Sembcorp Development being a partner for IEF this year. Thank you so much for your insights and for your support, and we hope to continue our relationship going forward. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Thank you, Pa. Thank you. I would just like to remind our participants that we will be back at 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. Please feel free to join. The room will open at 1:30 p.m. our time. We have a very exciting panel of global thought leaders. Professor Kishore Mahbubani, who's a senior fellow at the National University of Singapore, and a very well-renowned author and thinker on the U.S.-China trade and economic relationship. We have Gita Wiryawan, who of course is the founder of Ancora Capital, former minister, he's an investment banker, he's a philanthropist. He will be sharing with us his thoughts and ideas on how he sees the global picture emerging post-COVID-19, and of course with the backdrop of the recent U.S. election and the election of President Biden in the U.S., that will change the dynamics of trade and investment flows in Asia. And we have Pak Ali Setiawan, who is the head of global markets, capital markets at HSBC Indonesia. HSBC. He will be telling us about what investors are thinking about. Where is the smart money going today? How should you be looking at investment flows and your own investment ideas in the post-COVID world? So thank you very much for being with us this morning. It's been a pleasure having you participate at the Indonesia Economic Forum. For all those who have asked questions, thank you so much for your engagement and for asking the questions. Keep those questions coming. We will review them and we will, as far as possible, get those questions answered. So thank you very much and see you soon.